Session at this time, and board members, you know the first item is to go over the agenda, and I have a couple of changes, and let me just read those out and then we can move on to approval. All right, so consent agenda, item 8.13, proposed school operational support staffing grid and school supplement grid discretionary budget for fiscal year 2019-2020 was moved to discussion agenda item 10.1 at the request of Dr. Kelly, and board members, you'll see that there. Discussion agenda item 10.1 moved from consent agenda, proposed school operational support staffing grid and school supplement grid discretionary budget for fiscal year 2019-2020. And so at this time, board members, I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Destin.
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? The motion carries 5-0. All right, so we'll move on to recognitions, and board members, I'm going to move the public comment section down after all the recognitions and appointments, and hopefully create some more seats in the room as we move through these items. All right, so first of all, Superintendent, 3.1, recognition of Tanta Owens 2018-2019 Florida Panhandle and Big Bend Region 1 Outstanding Senior School Volunteer, presented by the Superintendent. Mr. Chambers.
Thank you, Dr. White. And I too would like to say it's great to see everybody here this evening. This is a fantastic outing where we are recognizing a lot of different individuals or organizations or teams, so this is an exciting evening. And like you said, Dr. White, I'm very proud to come before you where we have Ms. Tanya Owens, who is the Florida Panhandle and Big Bend Region 1 Outstanding Senior School Volunteer of the Year. And I do have a bio that was created from Wright Elementary. I'm going to go ahead and read that.
Sure, thank you.
Dr. Maya Angelou once said, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some compassion, passion, some humor, and some style." Fortunately, Ms. Owens' passion is helping children learn and teachers teach. She has volunteered in the front office, guidance, library, 1st through 5th grade classes, where she was running off copies, delivering mail, and being available to assist in all errands. But her true love is the kindergarten building as an integral part of the teaching team at Wright Elementary School. Frequently, Ms. Owens sees children in need of clothing, shoes, or supplies and immediately remedies it by a trip to the store, purchasing more items than necessary for the child. She tutors, reads, and listens to students share their difficulties at home or in the classroom. Children who work directly with her have doubled their academic knowledge in letters, sight words, and reading passages. The emotional support students feel because of Mrs. Owens' involvement shows in student attitudes and school performance. During her service, 120 kindergarten students each year directly benefit from her time and tutoring support with MAP-related needs. She indirectly impacts 150 more students throughout the school. Although the true number of students she has impacted is truly countless, we can directly account for over 1,000 students who benefit from her dedication to volunteering and her endless love for helping others. Ms. Owens represents the spirit and objectives for this award. Due to her unyielding passion, she has thrived in the area of volunteerism.
Awesome.
And at this time, I'd like Dr. Wright to come up, come on up as well. Dr. Choice, if you would do me a favor, and if you have any words that you would also like to share, go ahead at this time.
Which way do I face?
You can face either way.
Okay. I would just like to say that she is such an integral part of our culture at Wright Elementary, and we have several of our Wright family here to cheer her on today. And we just don't know how we would survive without Tanya, her love, and all of the things that she brings to Wright Elementary. Thank you. Thank you.
And we have a plaque for you, and it was great meeting you before the meeting. And if you have a conversation with her, the passion that comes out is clear. The love that she has for Wright and the students is clear. And This is exactly what we love seeing in our schools, our volunteers like you, and Dr. Choice could not have been prouder when she shared her words about you. So we thank you
Thank
for all that
you.
you do.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good. Awesome. Superintendent, you can stay right there. We'll go ahead and move to another big one, 3.2. Recognition of Crestview High School Boys Basketball Team Florida High School Athletic Association Class 7A State Champions 2019, presented by Superintendent Marcus Chambers. Superintendent.
Thank you, sir. Now, on this one, there may be a few individuals who also want to say a few words, and there might be a board member who might want to say a few words in a second, whose name might be Mr. Bryant. But I would like to say just a few quick words. And I think all of you know, as you follow this journey of Crestview, during their playoff stretch towards this title game, I think not only was the Crestview High School students and faculty proud, the city, the community of Crestview proud, but I think it brought together an entire community. You brought together Okaloosa County, and you had individuals and teams from other schools cheering you on that normally wanted to compete and try to beat you. But what you did, once again, was not only fantastic for Crestview, but what you did for the school district. We are very proud of all that you did. And Coach, we have Coach Watson back there and the other coaches. We have with us Coach Stakely, Coach Emerson, and Coach Hall. 7A state champions. They played Dillard High School in Fort Lauderdale. They won 50-40 and made all of Okaloosa very proud. And I'm sure Mr. Bryant's going to have a few words for you as well.
So as a school board representative for District 4, which has Crestview High School in it, it is an honor tonight that we are honoring these young men for what they've done. And all I have to say is that once a Bulldog, always a Bulldog.
And Dr. White, they may also have a very proud principal who's here tonight who might want to share some words.
Holding something.
So come on up, Coach.
The worst thing you ever do is let a coach speak. I just want to let y'all know, representing Crestview, I'm just thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. I got to go. That's the first time I've ever been in the state playoffs other than 2002 football. And to win that and be associated with this group of young men, this is the example. It's not just great players. They have great character. Okay, when one of their players went down, the twins picked them up to get them back going again. So we want to beat them full strength. We don't want to beat them -1. And that's the kind of kids that we have. They're great kids. They're great characters. People, you got a great team. I said, we got great kids. We got a great coach. We got a great community. We got a great district. And we're just proud to represent Okaloosa County School District and winning the state championship. And we appreciate all the support from all the schools and the communities. And it's just a great thing for our school district.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and have the team come up, Superintendent. All right.
Coach, do you have any words?
Yes, he's going to speak.
Yes.
Just want to say thanks. I'm not going to be long, I promise, but I want to thank Mr. Chambers, Mr. Bryant, and the rest of the board for having us down here. And then again, like the whole county, through Twitter and stuff, we got everybody from every school, it seemed like, was rooting us on and congratulating us, and that really meant a lot. And like I said, it's hard because we compete, and we don't really like each other during the season, but that's just part of it. It's not like a personal thing, it's a competitive thing, and we all know that as we compete, but it was really awesome to see us come together, and we really did want to represent the county once we got going because we could feel the support behind us. So like Mr. Day said, it wasn't me, it's these guys right here. And all of them couldn't come because they're working and stuff right now, but there's a great group. You know, this is kind of one of those once-in-a-lifetime type groups. But like he said, not only are they really good players and competitors, but they're really good kids. And that's basically why they won it. Okay, because they had that will to win, and they're just really good kids. And I'm just proud to be able to help a little bit. So I just want to say thank you.
Some of the guys can basketball. Get one more guy done. Come over this side.
They're uncoachable sometimes.
All right.
All right. Congratulations again, gentlemen. Good job. Good job. Thank you, Principal. All right, so I'm going to do a 2-minute recess, and then we'll reconvene in 2 minutes. So we're recessed at this time. If you have dinner arrangements and you want to go ahead and head out, that's okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and reconvene this board meeting at this time. So we'll call us back into session, and we're moving on now. Point 3, recognition of the 2018-2019 Kids Tag Art Program winners, presented by Mr. Ben Anderson, Okaloosa County Tax Collector. Welcome, Tax Collector Anderson.
How often is a tax collector really welcome? Well, Mr. Chairman and the board, this is always an exciting time for us to be able to come visit with you. And what good news we want to share once again this year. And we've provided you with a history of the Kids Tag Art program as it has occurred here in Okaloosa County. And I may turn a little bit back and talk to...
That's fine, Ben.
So in 2013-14, we began Kids Tag Art. And it's generally designed for the 5th graders in the school, and it's to encourage the arts. Not just limited to art, but to the other programs that are available to teach the young students and encourage them. So the Kids Tag Art program is primarily geared for 5th graders, but we find in some schools participation throughout. At Destin Elementary, 4th grade is their highest grade. So that's the group that participates there. And this year, we even have a new group that we've welcomed into Kids Tag Art, and that is the pre-K at the STEM school. Pre-K, we're touching on to them, and so we had participation from them, and we're very excited about that, but they don't have an elementary, and so they jump up to the middle school. So So here's a couple quick things. I won't be long, I
Okay.
promise you.
All right, Ben.
That this year there are 13 elementary schools that participated in Kids Tag Art. And out of that, we have 2 new ones. We brought in Destin Elementary and Plu this year. So we also, with the, I thought a cute story on it, from the STEM program, our participation there was led by Brandy Bearfield. She came from Edge Elementary, and she saw how it worked. And she said, you know, we don't have many fundraising programs for the pre-K. Could we participate? And they did. And those little preschoolers sold 49 tags this year. So in total, we broke a record. We crossed into the 700 range. We sold 726 tags, and those funds go 100%, less that cost, to those schools and directly to those schools. And encouraging the students, we're putting non-tax dollar funds back into the arts programs at these many elementary schools. This year, through those sales, they raised over $6,100, non-tax dollars. But Sherry Bruns right here, who is our director for Kids Tag Art, says we can surely do more and do better. So she goes out and every year and she seeks sponsors. One of our sponsors here is Leo Tiza from Aflac. Leo, just raise your hand where you are. And with our sponsorships, we have raised $11,500 to go with. That goes in with what each individual school does. So this year, we raised a total of $17,624 of non-tax dollars that have gone back into your schools for the arts programs. We're very proud of what we're able to work in partnership with Superintendent Chambers, the principals, and the art teachers at these schools. And over the past several years, we have raised a total of $64,400 contributed in, and did I say those are non-tax dollars? See, a tax collector can bring good news. So thank you very much. We're going to make the presentations to each of these wonderful artists that we have, and so parents, get your cameras ready. Okay.
Sure, yes, please, go ahead.
And I would like to say that we're going to take pictures outside, so we'll do the presentation of the certificate and tag here, and then we'll go outside for other pictures.
And we're going to line
We'll do a
the
group
up.
picture first before we go outside, yes.
Okay, so
That's always
when you
fun.
come up, if you would just line up around TV or.
Okay, so we're going to start with Blue Water, Principal Amy Clue, and I'd like for the principal and the teacher to come if they're here. Art teacher Sarah Sazinski, and our winners are Alexandra Wersing and Olivia Jernigan. And Olivia's not here? Okay. Destin, Principal Joey Genazo, art teacher Julie Gaffney. And I know that Mr. Genazo could not be here today, but the winner from Destin is Stella Scoma. From Edge Elementary, Principal Dr. Samantha Dawson and art teacher Jennifer Harper. And our Award of Distinction winners from Edge are Annabella, I said Duque, did I say that right? And we have Sophia Sakura. They may not be here, and that's okay, but thank you for accepting that on their behalf. We have, from Elliott Point, Principal Kathy Art and art teacher Jeanette Webb. And our winners from Elliott Point are Callie Sage and Victoria Higginson. From Florosa, we have Principal Dawn Massey with our art teacher Kirby Hart, who I don't know if she could be here with us, but our students from Florosa are Kylie Cooley and Janelle Johnson. From Kenwood, our principals Joan Picard and art teachers Sarah Harris and Linda Holland, and the students from Kenwood are Abigail Vinson and Jenna Orlando. From Lewis, Principal Mike Fantasky, art teacher Emmy Stockman, and the students from Lewis are Emily Mills and Jordan Friley. From Liza Jackson Preparatory School, Principal Kay McKinley, art teacher Joey Caviezel. Kietzel. Did I say that wrong? I know I mess that up every time. Liza Jackson Student Award winners are Katie Eubanks and Anna Abernathy. Anna, sorry. Anna, I know how to say your name, and I apologize. Hey, Miss Leah. We'll sit with your students. That'll be great. From Northwood, Dr. Donna Good, principal, and art teacher Beth Patterson. The students are Priscilla Antunez and Kamori Hardy.
That's dedication.
One of our new schools, as he mentioned, is Plu, and we have art teacher Abby Wilburn. Our students are Caitlin Scroggs and Sadie Carter. Miss McAllister, I'm sorry, I didn't name you. Okay, so Riverside, Principal Tammy Matz, art teacher Teresa Brim, and our students from Riverside are Emily Gailey and Elena Ruth. From Shalimar Elementary, Principal Kim McSparron, art teacher is Tom Latenser, and our students are Wendy Martinez and Emily Lapointe. I'm going to move so y'all will have this area too. All right, from Walker Elementary, Principal Lorna Carnley, art teacher Jennifer Furr, and our students are Isle Fitzpatrick and Angelisa Sierra. And our special award recognition for the Sheriff's Office Choice Award is Destiny Howard from Northwood Elementary. And the Tax Collector's Choice Award, which this is a special one because the tax collector puts the plate that is the Tax Collector's Choice Award winner on the front of his vehicle, and he uses it there for the rest of the school year, and it's replaced each year by the next winner. So you get to see it around town. And Zachary Gideon from Plu. And just one more thing, it's important I mentioned that the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is one of our major sponsors because we are able to advertise for things like anti-crime and anti-bullying, Crime Stoppers and things like that. And of course, he mentioned Aflac with Leo Tisa and corporate benefits. So again, thank y'all all, and I'm going to get out of your way now.
found their picture yet? Can y'all tell? I'm trying to still organize it.
Probably me too.
Can you guys go across behind them? There you
Up to almost to Huntsville and across. Got it.
These little girls need to be in the front. She needs to be in the front.
And then you go on into Knoxville and into, is that what you do? Or 40, isn't it 40 or something? Goes to Weirds Valley? Yeah.
We go the new bike.
We haven't driven up there in a while.
Okay, so we go on a new bike, which I'll try to be able to send you. Remind me and I'll send you.
Yeah, I was just curious. We haven't driven up there in a while. That might go.
It's like driving planes on
Yeah, that would probably be a really good photo op. If I fall down.
now connect them.
I like Richmond better. I hear the track's gonna be kind of soft, so it'll get softer anyway. So they got the stove in out here. Send me pictures of the stove.
Like the main wagon.
Okay, so you come out this side of the
All right, congratulations. All right, thank you, Mr. Anderson. That's awesome. Awesome job. Appreciate it. All right, we'll call another 2-minute recess. I think when the superintendent gets done signing autographs, we'll go ahead and get started.
best smile I've had in a while.
Everybody gets 15 minutes.
That's right.
There you go. That's awesome.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call us back into session, and this time I'd like to call forward our visitors. 4.1, Mr. Drew Association's presentation of a donation to Silver Sand School. Welcome, fellas.
It's our honors, incoming president, outgoing president, Lee Lewis, present Silver Sands School with a check for $10,000 for the.
Awesome. That's a lot. That's a lot. Thank you.
You're fine. I will take this.
I just want to say thank you to the administration of Silver Sands for bringing this opportunity to us. These are the kind of things that I joined the organization for donations like this, where we can make a difference in people who need it. This is going to help resurface the track for the school that track's in pretty bad shape. So thank you so much to you and to the administration of Silver Sands for giving us this opportunity.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you all for giving us.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being here. Thanks for the help.
Thank you so much.
All right, Mr. Chambers?
And Dr. White, I do want to say the All Sports Association, as many of you know, they are proud supporters of the Okaloosa County School District, and all that you all do, not only this year, that you've done for countless years. We are very grateful, and we just thank you for your support and partnership, and especially with Silver Sand School. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, colleagues, so we'll go ahead and move to the personnel appointments. And so, Mr. Chambers, we'll move to 6.1, the appointment of a foreman for maintenance recommended by the superintendent for approval.
School board members, I'm proud to bring before you Mr. Jerry Payne. And Jerry Payne has worked in the district for over 30 years. Mr. Payne has been part of the maintenance department for 15 years, 6 of those as a heavy equipment operator, and the past 9 as a leaderman. He is married to his wife Sharon, and they have 5 wonderful children. Mr. Payne is a graduate of Fort Walton Beach High School and a member of Beulah Baptist Church in Fort Walton Beach. Mr. Payne enjoys spending time with his family, bowling, and fishing.
There you go.
Looking for a motion, board members.
Move we approve.
Motion by Mr. Destin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Chambers.
Mr. Payne.
Congratulations, Mr. Payne.
I would like to say, first of all, give an honor to God, who's the head of my life. I want to thank him, and I want to thank Mr. Chambers and the board for considering me for this. And I also want to thank Mr. Steve Bowden. Amen. Amen.
Very good.
Thank you all so much. I enjoyed
Yes, sir.
it.
Thank you. Congratulations.
You have to give a speech as well.
All right, so moving on now to 6.2, appointment of specialist human resources investigations recommended by the superintendent for approval. Mr. Chambers.
Thank you, sir. And I bring before you Mr. Jeff Moore. Jeff Moore grew up in Fayetteville, Georgia, and began his law enforcement career working for the City of College Park Police Department, where he received several commendations for his excellent service and outstanding character. After moving to Florida with his family, he continued his law enforcement career with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office. With over 12 years in law enforcement experience, He has responded to various emergencies, conducted hundreds of investigations, and has accumulated over 1,000 hours of law enforcement training. Most recently, he has served the last 5 years in the School Resource Officer Unit, serving Longwood Elementary, Edge Elementary, and Ruckle Middle School. Jeff is happily married to his wife, Ashley Moore, and they have 5 children. They attend and volunteer at Calvary Baptist Church, where Jeff also serves as an usher. He is currently attending the Faith Bible Institute. Mr. Jeff Moore.
Very good. Looking for a motion, board members?
I'll move.
Motion by Dr. Kelly.
I'll second it.
That was close. Second by Ms. Evancheck. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Chambers.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Moore.
Welcome, Mr. Moore.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to thank Mr. Chambers and the Okaloosa County School District and the Okaloosa County School Board for this opportunity. I look forward to moving from the Sheriff's Office, where I worked as a school resource officer, and continuing that to serve our community with the Okaloosa County School District. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Very good. Congratulations again.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Very good. All right, moving on now to 6.3, appointment of Director 1, Secondary Education, recommended by Superintendent Chambers for approval. Mr. Chambers.
Thank you. So I present to you Mr. Jeff Palmer. Jeff Palmer is a proud product of the Okaloosa County School District, having attended Oakland Heights Elementary School, Bruner Junior High School, and then graduated from Fort Walton Beach High School in 1979. He is in his 28th year of working for Okaloosa Schools. He has served as a math teacher, a coach, an assistant principal at Choctawhatchee High School, the principal at Mary Esther Elementary School, the principal of Pryor Middle School, and the principal of Niceville High School. He has spent the last 3 years serving the elementary curriculum department as their director. Jeff is married to his beautiful wife, Sandy, who retired from Okaloosa Schools after 31 years, and he has 2 children, Lindsay, who's married to Tyler, and Paul Allen, both of which graduated from Choctawhatchee High School. Jeff experienced a life-changing event 6 months ago when he became the proud grandfather of Tucker Maxey. Jeff is active in Beachside Community Church and loves being able to contribute to Okaloosa community, and he says that he was able to play basketball in his youth.
All right, board members, I need a motion. Asking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant.
I'll second. Okay.
Second by Mr. Destin. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations, Mr. Palmer.
Thank you very much. Just want to tell everyone how much I appreciate your confidence, the board, Mr. Chambers. It's been an absolute privilege to work for the school district and the hardworking, dedicated people that I've worked with all over the county, and especially where I am now, the curriculum department and the people who work there are second to none. So it's exciting to take this next step. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Congratulations again.
Mr. Chambers, we're hoping that those basketball skills pass down.
We're keeping the giraffe in there.
All right, thank you. And moving on now to 6.4, appointment of principal, Bruner Middle School, recommended by the superintendent for approval. Mr. Chambers.
Sir, bring before you Mr. Gary Massey. Mr. Gary Massey moved to the area in 1985, where he attended and graduated from Fort Walton Beach High School in 1989. He went on to receive a bachelor's degree and later a University of West Florida in educational leadership. Mr. Massey taught for 8 years before entering administration. As an administrator, Mr. Massey has served as an assistant principal at Destin Elementary, an assistant principal at Ruckle Middle School, a temporary principal at Eglin Elementary, principal of Bob Sykes Elementary, principal of Mary Esther Elementary, and principal of Shoal River Middle School. This transfer to Bruner Middle School is uplifting to many besides Gary due to his family connections at Bruner Middle School. Mr. Massey's wife, Dawn, their 2 boys, James and Justin, Holly, his sister-in-law, and his nephews, Pearson and Lavin, are all former, current, or future Spartans. It is bittersweet to leave the fantastic family he had at Shoal River Middle School. However, he is excited to come back home to Fort Walton Beach, follow in the footsteps of former Bruner principal legends, and lead Bruner Middle School. Mr. Massey.
All right, looking for a motion, board members?
I'll move we approve.
Motion by Mr. Destin. Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations, Mr. Massey.
I appreciate it, Mr. Chambers and the board, this vote of confidence. And I am so excited I cannot even see straight to go to Bruner.
Awesome. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Massey. Get some photographs. Oh, I see some coming forward.
Those are sons.
Go. Goodie bag. Basket.
Could have brought her some other t-shirts.
I'm going to pass the gavel to Mr. Bryant on the next one. Okay. When you get the gavel, tell him. You got to make it Congratulations again. All right, so on the next one, on 6.5, I'm going to pass the gavel to Mr. Bryant. Mr. Bryant.
Thank you, Dr. White. At this time, we're going to, that's item 6.5 is the appointment of principal, Meigs Middle School, recommended by the superintendent for approval. I have a motion. Is there a motion on the floor?
Well, I don't know. I might want to hear
But first,
what we're
say who
doing.
it is, yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So I bring before you Ms. Tracy Lamb. After earning a biology degree from the College of William and Mary, Ms. Lamb began her education career in 1995 as a high school science teacher in Virginia. After moving to Okaloosa County in 2000, she accepted a middle school science position at Richburg Middle School. There, she served as the science department chair and worked with Northwest Florida, AHEC, and FSU's College of Medicine to successfully pilot Okaloosa County's STRIDE program. In 2005, Tracy earned her master's in counseling and psychology from Troy University. She spent 11 years serving as a school counselor for Baker School, Shoal River Middle School, and Riverside Elementary. During this time, Tracy served on her school's leadership teams, as well as the district's Pupil Progression Committee and MTSS Committee. In 2015, after earning her second master's degree from the University of Texas at Arlington in educational leadership, she has spent the last 3 years as an assistant principal of curriculum instruction at Meigs Middle School. Tracy lives in Crestview with her 7th grade daughter, Maddie.
Okay, at this time, we're looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
And at this time, I'm going to pass the gavel back over to Dr. White.
I'll take it back. Looking for a second?
And
I'll second it.
Good.
Well, so we have a second by Ms. Ivanchek. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Congratulations.
Wow. I am so humbled to be standing here and so honored. Thank you to the board for your support and for this opportunity to lead such an incredible school. I'd like to thank Mr. Chambers for your recommendation and your confidence in me. I work at the most magical place on earth. I tell my staff all the time, no matter what's going on, we're gonna smile because it's magic here. And it truly is. 3 years ago, I was appointed to assistant principal, and I didn't know a lot about Meigs. I knew it was a great school. Dr. Hale had bragged on it for a long time. And I quickly learned what it meant to be part of the Wildcat family. And it truly is a family at that school. We have the most incredible staff, the most incredible kids, and supportive parents. And I feel so honored and blessed that I will now get to call Meigs my home. Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Come on, Tammy. Where's my former admin? Lee? Michelle? Mr. Whidden?
Congratulations. All right, so moving on now to 6.6, appointment of Assistant Principal 1, Choctawhatchee High School, recommended by Superintendent Chambers for approval. Mr. Chambers. Thank you.
I do have one quick thing. Also, I think in support of the last appointment, we have our former school board member, Ms. Thigpen, who's here as well. So welcome back.
Oh, yeah.
So I bring before you Mr. Brandon Donaldson, and as we spoke about at the Thursday workshop, this is a budget-neutral double fill. Brandon Donaldson is a proud product of the Okaloosa County school system. He attended Valparaiso Elementary School, Lewis Middle School, and graduated from Niceville High School. Following high school, Mr. Donaldson attended Troy University, where he received a bachelor's degree in social science education in 2005. He taught for 1 year in Fairhope, Alabama, then returned home to Lewis Middle School in 2006. After 3 years, he transferred to Fort Walton Beach High School before returning to Lewis in 2012. In 2015, Mr. Donaldson transferred to Niceville High School. At each stop along the way, Mr. Donaldson has gained valuable experience that has prepared him for the challenges of leadership. Over the course of his career, Mr. Donaldson has taught world history, geography, civics, U.S. history, PE, and literature. He also spent his afternoons and evenings coaching football, weightlifting, soccer, and track. In 2018, Mr. Donaldson completed his master's degree in educational leadership from the University of West Florida. Mr. Donaldson is married to his supportive wife, Amanda. They have 2 wonderful children, William and Lily.
All right, looking for a motion, board members.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Destin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryan. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations.
Members of the board, Superintendent Chambers, I'd like to thank you for your confidence. And I'm very much looking forward to being at a great school with great people. I got to meet some of them today. And go Big Green.
Good job. Congratulations.
The whole family's already wearing green. Good. Good stuff. Oh, precious. Dr. White, sorry if you come up on
Sure.
this as well.
All right, I'll give a 2-minute recess. All right, so we'll go ahead and call this school board meeting back into session, and colleagues will now move back to public comment 5.1. And so first of all, I have Dr. Preble Ramswell, 14 Country Club Drive, Destin, Florida. Dr. Ramswell. And I could also say Councilwoman Ramswell from Destin, City of Destin. And Mr. Attorney, would you give Dr. Ramswell the rules and so forth?
You'll have 4 minutes to make your presentation.
Oh, okay, I'm going to be quick. My name is Preble Ramswell, 14 Country Club in Destin, Florida. I want to thank all of you, staff, board, chairman, superintendent, and especially those of literally here in the audience that came just to be a part of this moment, our board, everybody that's been a part of this and helped make this happen. I want to thank you all so very much for your professionalism and the spirit of collaboration, because it has been so welcomed and so appreciated. And that's the spirit in which we want to move forward. It's really this sense of community and collaboration, cooperation, everyone working together. And I really thank y'all for your attitude with this. You know, when we put this committee together back in 2016, it really was because of a community desire to make a change and try and get a school in Destin. And it has been just such an exciting journey, and to actually be at this point is just wonderful. And I want to thank y'all for your role you're playing in this process. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ramswell. Any comments or questions, board members?
I just have one short
Mr.
comment.
Destin?
I want to thank Ms. Ramswell and her group. They've worked very hard and with great diligence. You know, as we discussed in the workshop, our high schools are getting terribly overcrowded. Niceville and Crestview are busting at the seams, while Fort Walton isn't as bad. They're still crowded. And so I hope as they work down their path toward trying to get this school in place, we will be able to work with them collaboratively more. And I look forward to working with Mr. Chambers and the rest of the board to see what it is we can do.
All right, very good, sir. Thank you. Anything else? Thank you, Dr. Ramswell.
Thank y'all.
All right, and so I have one other public comment card here, and this is for Briar Ramswell, who also happens to live at 14 Country Club Drive. So come forward, Briar. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
You get 4 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
So for Destin High School, our city would be very well for that high school because lots of schools like Fort Walton and Niceville, they're very overcrowded. And if we had a Destin High School, it would allow students to be able to take their time, like in the mornings. They wouldn't have to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. They'd be able to wake up at, let's say, 6:45.
That's a little better.
And it would give lots of students, especially at my school, they are so upset that they don't want to have to go to Fort Walton because they don't want to go to that school. They want to go to Niceville because it has lots of great sports and academic stuff. And also, if they went to Destin, they wouldn't have to be worried about that because they would have their own high school, their own teams that they could figure out and make good. So that is what I have to say.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, board members, you have any questions or comments for Briar?
I just want to say it's always great to see our young folks getting up in front of a public forum like this and speaking what's on our mind. That's a great thing, and we appreciate you coming up tonight.
Thank you.
What grade are you?
7th.
7th grade. So you won't get to go for a while, but that'll be good. So.
But our class will hopefully be the first grade going into the school and going all the way through.
So you'll be the first graduating class. That's
Yes.
awesome. Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Briar. All right, board members, so now we're back on track. We'll skip over section 6 and of course section 7, committee and staff reports. We've already done those. We did those in the workshop, but for formality purposes, let me go through them very quickly. 7.1 was in-county travel paid for the period of March 21 through April 3rd, 2019, presented by Mrs. Rita Scallon, Chief Financial Officer. 7.2, out-of-county travel paid for the period of March 21 through April the 3rd, 2019, presented by Mrs. Rita Scallon, Chief Financial Officer. 7.3, quarterly reports, service agreements under $5,000 threshold for internal and budgetary funds, presented by Mr. Vince Wyndham, Program Director Purchasing. And then 7.4, quarterly report, short-term facility use contracts and lease agreements under the $5,000 threshold, presented by Mr. Vince Wyndham, Program Director Purchasing. So moving on to section 8, consent agenda. The first item is the approval of the consent agenda, so I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant.
Second.
Second by Mr. Destin. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. All right, colleagues, let's go ahead and slide down to section 9 now. This will be the superintendent's human resources recommendations. 9.1 is an information item only. Employees on administrative leave, presented by Dr. Lee Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources. 9.2, deferred retirement option program drop, presented by Dr. Lee Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources. Again, an information item. 9.3, this is an action item. Request to advertise the public hearing for the adoption of a new job description for Director, Exceptional Student Education and Student Services, Curriculum and Instruction, presented by Dr. Lee Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant.
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Kelly. Now, floor is open for discussion. Any discussion? Not hearing or seeing any, it's time to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 5-0. 9.4, Request to advertise a public hearing for adoption of a revised job description for Assistant Principal 1, presented by Dr. Lee Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Need a motion?
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Vanchek.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion?
Just real quick.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bryant.
Mr. Chambers, again, this, I know you talked to us about this. This is for assistant principals moving forward. The ones that are in the positions of 12-month now will be.
They will be grandfathered in, yes, sir.
All right.
Anything else, colleagues? All right, so let's call the question. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 5-0. All right, 9.5, request to advertise a public hearing for the adoption of revised School Board Policy 07-03, employment conditions for educational support personnel, presented by Dr. Lee Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Need a motion?
I'll move that one.
Motion by Mr. Destin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.6, cleared certification requirements and issuance of contracts for the 2018-2019 school year, presented by Ms. Karen Peak, Program Director, Professional Services, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Need a motion?
Move we approve.
Motion by Mr. Destin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryan. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.7, out-of-field report for the 2018-2019 school year, presented by Ms. Karen Peak, Program Director, Professional Services, and recommended by Superintendent Chambers for approval. Need a motion?
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Vanchak.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.8, personnel recommendations presented by Dr. Lee Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. This is an action item. I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Dr. Kelly.
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Vanchek. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.9, employment separations presented by Dr. Lee Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. I need a motion.
I'll move.
Motion by Dr. Kelly.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.10, employee transfers presented by Dr. Lee Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Destin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.11, reinstatement reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty illness, injury, medical examination, presented by Dr. Lee Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Need a motion.
Move we approve.
Motion by Mr. Destin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.12, leave without pay, presented by Dr. Lee Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Need a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Vanchek.
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. All right, colleagues, moving on to discussion agenda. Dr. Kelly, I'll call on you, ma'am, for this one. 10.1, proposed school operational support staffing grid and school supplement grid discretionary budget for fiscal year 2019-2020, presented by Ms. Rita Scallon, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Dr. Kelly, you requested this item to be moved to discussion, so I'll turn it over to you.
I did, and I appreciate it. And I do have a few remarks, if you don't mind. So first of all, I'd just like to thank Mr. Chambers and Ms. Scallon and the rest of the executive staff. Thank you for making the elementary AP positions whole for all the same reasons that I listed and that others mentioned at the workshop on Thursday, such as assisting with teacher evaluations and discipline, building rapport with students, which also impacts the discipline and deters young children from acting out, building bridges with the community, learning the role of principal while in that AP position, therefore strengthening their future roles with us and building capacity, and even filling in for the principal on occasions when the principal has to be absent, and also for grandfathering in those high school deans. I appreciate so much the fact that you listened to me and others that petitioned to you to leave those positions in place. And I just want you to know that you're so appreciated for hearing us. I also might interject, just in my humble opinion, just as one singular board member, that in the budget process, especially in budget shortfall years, that maybe we actually start the decision-making process at the school level with the principals. And maybe we should consider providing the principals with an organizational chart by department or cost center, outlining not just the allocations for staff, but even the names of those, so that the principals would have early input on the decision-making process, and they could turn those suggestions in maybe anonymously so that they would be authentic and the most valuable feedback, I believe, and then they could be compiled by someone maybe outside the senior staff so that they could be turned into you for consideration. And I really personally believe that this is the best way we can get authentic, honest feedback from those who are most directly impacted by budget decisions that will ultimately impact our students and our teachers. But thank you again for listening. It's so important. I really, truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. All right, any other comment?
I would.
Okay. All right, Superintendent,
But
Mr. Destin.
actually, I'll defer to the board first.
Okay. Mr.
Right.
Destin?
And I appreciate Mr. Chambers listening to the workshop discussion, and I think Dr. Kelly has an excellent idea. I spoke to a number of principals over the last 3 days who had some pretty good ideas on how we needed to trim, because we've put the APs back in, but that means we're still going to be about $4 million short sometime very soon. We've kind of just kicked the can down the road. In the very near future, we're going to have to come up with some ideas, and I heard some very good ones from some of the principals, and I discussed with Mr. Chambers, and he has some ideas too, but very soon this is going to raise its head again unless the legislature gives us 3 or 4 times as much money as we anticipate they're going to do, which they have not done in the 7 years that I've been here. So
All right.
we still have work to do.
All right. Any other comments or questions? board
Yes, I'd
members?
like to say that I'm just proud that we were able to work this out. This is where democracy works at its best, to have the board and the district. I mentioned the other day in the workshop that it was my goal as a board member to keep the cuts away from the classroom. And so we've been able to work that out, which I think is great, as Dr. Kelly said. And I think that's ultimately our students are going to benefit from that. And I appreciate the hard decisions with Ms. Scallon helping you and your team. It's not easy. I told somebody tonight, if we had all the money we needed, then our jobs would be very easy. But thank you for being open to suggestions from different people, because I think that is the true mark of a great leader, and I appreciate that.
Mr. Ryan?
I said my piece on Thursday, but again, thank you for all that you do. And Mr. Destin's right, folks. It's going to come back again, and we're going to have to figure out a way to make this work. But right now, I think it's the best decision to keep those APs in there.
And the thing that I would say is that I think you're exactly right, that we're going to face this quagmire again. And I guess, I wasn't a member of this school board when the decision was made, I guess 6 or 7 years ago, to add numerous positions to the budget. And that would be the in-school suspension program, where I think we added, I'm not even sure how many, Mr. Chambers, 30 or 40?
About 35-ish.
35 positions in an era of declining resources. And then again, we added elementary principals, assistant principals to that matrix as well. Again, in an era of declining resources. And so as that truck continues on down the road, I think what Mr. Destin is saying is exactly right. When we did not receive the revenue for those positions, how is it that we're going to balance this budget as time goes on? So I appreciate the magic that Ms. Scallon worked to figure out a way to try to keep everything intact as best we can. But I'm just saying that when you add positions, in a period of decline in finance, something's going to happen eventually. Mr. Chambers.
Yes, sir. And I would like to say, so as you know, on Thursday, we had a very healthy conversation, and we discussed the budget and the outlook of the budget as well. And when you look at where we are in terms of the state, and Ms. Scallon very eloquently pointed out that, though there looks like there's an increase to this year's state budget, when you look closer and you look at the best and the brightest allocation and other allocations, it gives kind of an inflated feel to this budget. I think we all realize right now that where we currently are with this budget is we have to be sensitive to the fact that the amount of money that we are, in essence, paying, the amount of money coming in is not sustaining this model. And of course, when you have to look at those types of situations, difficult decisions have to be made. The thing that I do appreciate is the fact that we have a very collaborative board, and I very much appreciate the relationship that we have. When you look at since 2007, the base student allocation for public funding for education, we've gone up about $50 since 2007. Since 2007, in essence, where we are right now with our base student allocation, and when you look at the Consumer Price Index, base student allocation has gone up approximately 1%, whereas the Consumer Price Index has gone up approximately 19%. So we're not at that level where we should be in terms of public school funding. However, the beautiful thing is, once again, going back to having healthy discussions, I did have a great meeting with some elementary principals on Friday, 5 out of the 6 that were impacted. The night before, I did have a good conversation as well with a colleague that's been with me for a long time that gave me some good, honest feedback, which I appreciate. And so we did make the decision after all of those conversations to place those elementary APs back in the budget. And I know that some of you had good communication with the principals as well, which I appreciate. Also, the dean position, like Dr. Kelly spoke about, we did decide to go ahead and grandfather that position in as well, but then you'll also notice the hours that were placed in the staffing pattern, those were removed since the deans remained whole. As we go forward into the future, at the high school level, just so we're very clear, at the high school level, the recommendation would be that there'd be 2 12-month APs, and then one of which would be a 10-month AP, and then as we go forward into the future, the dean would be a 10-month AP. But once again, as you go through a process with the budget, January 11th, I came on board here in this position, and a lot has occurred since January 11th. The senior staff and I, we have had several would probably be an understatement, of conversations as it pertains to this budget. This was also a good learning lesson as we've gone through this budget cycle. So I'll say that, so I appreciate it.
All right, any other discussion or comments, colleagues? Okay, so this is an action item, so I'm looking for a motion.
Also move.
Motion by Dr. Kelly.
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Evanchik. Any more discussion? Hearing or seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. All right, so there were no other items moved from consent, so let's go ahead and slide on down to construction program owners, representatives, business. And Mr. Destin, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. Dr. Smith gave us a brief report at the workshop, and I look forward to the input that we will get in tomorrow's closed session on school security.
All right, thank you, Mr. Destin.
Tomorrow?
Pardon me?
Isn't it tomorrow?
29th, I think.
Monday.
Monday.
I guess I'll be by myself tomorrow.
I
would have met with you.
I'll be here. Although if we didn't advertise, forget it.
Got it.
All right, so go ahead now to Mr. Attorney, your business, sir.
No report tonight.
All right. Superintendent, you've got some out-of-state field trips, and then you may have some other items, sir.
Tonight, I am good.
Okay. All right, we've covered a lot of territory
We
tonight.
have.
All right, board members, so let's go ahead and start with you, Ms. Evanchik, and we'll go around.
Yes, sir. Later on this week, on Wednesday and Thursday, we have our county art show out at the fairgrounds on Lewis Turner Boulevard. And From what I've seen from the school art shows, fabulous work that these students are doing. So I want to invite the public to come out and see what those students are doing. They're going to have the awards on Thursday night at 6 o'clock, so I'm looking forward to seeing about that. Also, this Wednesday is Administrative Professionals Day, what we used to call Secretary's Day. But we have so many individuals in our school system that help us. Starting with the board, we have Mary and Jan who keep us all straight, that we appreciate. And I know a lot of times at schools, people would say the principal can be out, but don't let his or her secretary be out. And we appreciate those individuals. So I want to shout out to all of those who serve our schools and recognize them for Administrative Professional Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vanchak. Dr. Kelly.
Oh, I just echo what we said at the workshop on Thursday, having attended that professional day with the chef from Italy at Richburg. I do think that that program is one that we should continue. I'd love to see those students continue that even after Ms. Godbolt retires this year, because it gives those ESE students not only life skills, but lessons and skills in nutrition, how to take care of themselves, and it gives them employability skills as well. And if you missed Ruckles Sweet Sounds event on Thursday night, you really missed a treat and a great idea. They had individuals that sang solo, they had their professional groups, they had Opus One from Niceville and Ruckles on chorus, and they had sweet treats for sale, and all of the proceeds went to support Relay for Life. So, and any of you out there watching, just keep up with the events in our community. There's so many avenues to see what our students are doing, not just academically, but through the arts and athletics too, as we saw tonight. And that just really makes me proud, once again, to say that our students and our parents are to be commended for the fact that we have well-rounded students. They're not just successful in one arena, but in many dimensions. So look on the websites and see when those events are and make your faces known there. There are some wonderful events in our community.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Mr. Bryant.
I will say the same thing. My wife and I had the opportunity last weekend to go to Fort Walton Beach High School and to Choctaw High School, different nights of course, to see Choctaw did Guys and Dolls, and Fort Walton Beach did The Wedding Singer. And I agree with Dr. Kelly. We have so many great things going on in our schools. If you ever want to just get away and see a Broadway caliber show, we have them in our schools. Next week, Crestview High School will be doing their spring presentation, The Wizard of Oz. So if you're up in Crestview and you want to have a wonderful date night, that's a good thing to go see. Also, Angelique Cox, who's that sitting next to you there?
President-elect Jordan Ackenberg.
Congratulations, Jordan. And that is all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bryant. Mr. Destin.
Well, in tune with principal's secretary or administrative assistant, I want to do a memorial for one from Destin Elementary that had been there through about a dozen principals, as I recall.
Feel sorry.
A long time. And if you really wanted something to do or to happen, you talk to Willadine Pate.
Oh, wow.
And she was a very good secretary. And I'd like to remember her at this moment.
All right, you've done so, sir. Thank you. All right, colleagues, so sliding down, we have public comment. Ms. Mary, I don't think we have any other blue cards, so we're good there. And then before we adjourn, I do want to point out there is a notice of a public notice, I think, Mr. McInnes, I think it's 19.4, if I recall correctly. It's a special meeting for a closed session to discuss school security. All right? And unless we have anything else, Mr. Attorney or Mr. Chambers or colleagues or staff, we're adjourned.